morning. I am off and hiking again on day 4 of the Great Southwest Walk. I've just left camp probably within the last half hour, and it was a gradual sort of climb up out of there, basically heading north. I crossed the Fitzroy River soon after getting out of camp, and that was only very much a trickle through there, so it wasn't really much of a river flow. And yeah, I've just been coming up this hill, and that was sort of heading north, and just swung around to the west now, and I've basically hit the edge of the forest. Looking up to the right there is actually sort of open farmland. So after having sort of hiked through the forest for a few days, or 2.5 days or whatever, it's right up to the edge of it now, so kind of got some open views again. So I'll pretty much head west for all of today towards Mullside camp, and yeah, it's another pretty decent sized day. It's 22 k's again, so it's going to be a pretty big one. So I'm not really sure what the terrain's going to be like, but there's a bit of anticipation about today too, because I'm coming out of the forest, and basically by the time I get to Moleside tonight, I'm going to be camping by the Glenelg River. So it's quite exciting actually. So the other thing that happens today is I come out of Kobobini National Park about a third of the way into today's hike, and come into Lower Glenelg National Park. So yeah, there's a few changes happening today, which is making me look forward to it. Some thought the other day, on the day that I started the hike, about how YouTube has a global audience, and the Australian accent for Australian YouTubers isn't always easy to understand necessarily for people whose ears aren't used to it. And I was kind of just reminded about that when I was having a chat to a couple of locals when I took a wrong turn, and I was just sort of getting some help from them just to double check directions. And so when it comes to Australian English, there's a couple, so I'll give you a little lesson today on a simple one to listen out for to help you understand. So there's 2 words I'm going to sort of talk about today. So the words are air and gun. So normally on their own, two words that obviously have their meanings, but when you hear that in Australia used together, it's actually a form of greeting. So rather than hearing someone say, "How are you going?" what you're going to hear them say probably is "air gun." And that's exactly what this guy said to me when he came out to greet me and give me a hand with directions. And that's just, to the untrained ear, you probably had no idea what he said, but that's just one of the little things to listen out for, whether you're watching Australian YouTubers that have a thick accent, or you're just visiting Australia as a tourist and trying to get an ear for the local language. That's one that you should know up front, because you'll hear it quite a bit. Here you going. I've just stopped for a lunch break. I've just finished off that. I had some tuna and chickpeas on crackers, which was a nice change from salami and cheese on crackers for the last few days. So I've just done that. I have checked the map just recently because I came across a couple of obvious landmarks. So I crossed a little while back a creek called Gallows Creek across a footbridge, and that was the only really obvious sort of landmark for quite a while after walking through the bush for quite a while. And then just before I hit an unmade road called Inkpot Road, and where it sort of T-intersects with Harris Road, there was a short road walk down that, and I've just turned off that now, back onto the main bit of the trail, and I'm just about to get going again. So looking at the map, it looks like I'm about probably almost 2/3 of the way through it, so I've had a pretty good go at it this morning. It's just almost 1 o'clock now, so I think if I manage to have a pretty solid afternoon as well, hopefully I'll get into camp, it's sort of later in the afternoon, earlier than yesterday I hope. So if I can get there by about 4:30, I'd be pretty happy. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. I'm not sure what the terrain's like yet, so see how things go. But again, amazing day, just so nice and sunny, and just a fresh breeze blowing as well, so cannot complain about the weather at all. Alright, well, I'm about to hit the trail again and settle in for the afternoon session. Well, I've just made my worst navigational mistake on the hike so far, and it's cost me about another 4 kilometers, and that was basically 2 k's walking down a boring unsealed road and then realizing I had to go back again because I've missed a turn off. So that sign behind me should have been so obvious. It's right on the side of the road. It's a pretty big sign. I don't know what I was doing. I must have had my head down. And I've also gone past a little red arrow marker. That you could be forgiven for missing that because it is tucked into the bushes a bit, so it's not all that clear. Anyway, these are the things that happen on hikes. So I'm back at the right point now, and I'm about to head back into the bush, and I'm not too far off Mullside, so fortunately I've still got quite a bit of time on my hands. It's only about 3:30, so I think I'm probably only about probably 3 k's from the campsite roughly, so it shouldn't be too long until I'm there, and I'm looking forward to putting my feet up for a little bit. I have made it to Moleside camp at last. It's actually right on 4:30, which is about what I was thinking that it would take when I made that estimate at lunchtime. But I would have been here quite a bit earlier if I didn't actually take that 4k wrong turn where I missed the sign. So anyway, it's great to be here. I've just had my first peeks of the river, and this campsite is just absolutely beautiful. There's a lot of nice grassy areas to be able to pitch the tent on. Really nice spot. So I think I must have hiked about 26 k's or something, or a bit more, with that incorrect bit of navigation that I did. So anyway, these things happen, and I'm just glad to be here, and in a pretty reasonable hour too. So just going to relax for a bit and then start getting camp organised for tonight.